What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another Blu-ray slash 4K update. Got all this stuff here, and didn't pick up any DVDs. Pretty much completely done with DVDs. I'll still buy the odd one here and there, but it's so weird. I hate to sound like a snob, but like I'm so used to HD at this point with like Blu-ray and 4K and then streaming and now streaming in 4K. It's like when I go back to DVDs, especially the older ones like from, the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm like, wow, man, the picture quality is jarring. Which is weird because I literally still will watch VHS tapes all the time. Maybe not all the time, but every couple months I'll pop in a VHS. I guess if I'm talking quality, I'd rather have like crappy quality that adds to the atmosphere versus like that mid quality of DVD. And then obviously preference is HD. But anyway, no DVDs. Did get some Blu-rays and 4Ks. They're all mixed up, so I'm not gonna do like Blu-rays and 4Ks. Pretty much mostly been buying Vinegar Syndrome and not a whole lot else. Just with the cost of everything nowadays, like Severin's through the roof. Scream Factory's always been through the roof lately. Arrow's affordable-ish at times, but I'm just not really buying a whole lot these days. But I do keep up on Vinegar Syndrome because it's like the funnest label to me. But I also did pick up some books. Not a lot, but I picked up a few books that I figured I would show off here. So first up, sorry for bumping the camera. I did grab this Edgar Allan Poe book for $10 at Barnes & Noble. Edgar Allan Poe Illustrated Tales. So you have 19 of Edgar Allan Poe's work in here with some nice artwork and illustrations to go along. I've always liked Edgar Allan Poe, but I've only read like the main, like most known stories like The Raven, Pit and the Pendulum, Telltale Heart, and a couple others. So I figured I would check out like all these stories eventually. But yeah, I like the artwork. This is like sort of like Barnes & Noble's like exclusive version of these stories, which they do some nice artwork and stuff like that. $10, can't really beat it. Next up is The Damnation Game by Clive Barker. And yeah, I've only read one Clive Barker story, which is The Hellbound Heart, which is what Hellraiser's based on. But there's also a handful of other ones that I've always wanted to check out. Pretty well-known horror writer. In terms of my literature intake, mostly Stephen King and like R.L. Stine through the years, but I am trying to venture off a little bit more. I recently read like an Anne Rice book, The Interview with the Vampire, and I did The Ruins, kind of going on books that are based on movies. But I've read, some Lucky McKee and stuff, but I'm trying to read more as I get older. So, yeah, that is Clive Barker's The Damnation Game. Now this one I'm really excited to read. I've had this on my wish list forever, and I recently learned that Vinegar Syndrome actually sells books, which is pretty cool. Did not know that. And this was one of the titles that I picked up on my latest order, and that is Are You in the House Alone? Growing Up with Gargoyles, Giant Turtles, Valerie Harper, The Cold War, Stephen King, and Co-ed Call Girls. A TV movie compendium, 1964 to 1999, by Amanda Reyes, who is... she does a lot of commentaries and stuff, sort of a film historian, but I absolutely love TV movies, and I just love the concept of talking about all these TV movies and sort of going through the history of them, which is really cool. This book is super neat. Very excited to finally dig into this one, and I'm sure I'm going to learn about a lot of titles I'd never heard of. That is Are You in the House Alone? And then a coworker bought me this book, which I did read actually. It is The Hunger by Alma Katsu. And cool thing, she actually got me a bookmark with the gift. So this is a pretty cool bookmark, right? But yeah, this is sort of a book about the Donner Party, essentially, from the days of traveling to the West. You know, everybody knows the famous Donner Party that got lost in the snow on their way to the West and resorted to like cannibalism and stuff like that. This is sort of a fictitious version that like changes some stuff around and makes it like a horror story. Well, I guess it was already a horror story, but it adds like some supernatural elements to it, which is pretty cool. It was a pretty interesting book. I like historical sort of fiction as well, you know. And then the last one here is another really cool book. It's called Paperbacks from Hell, which is all about the twisted history of 70s and 80s horror fiction. So on the inside here, you got like all these awesome, like cover arts to these books that came out back in the 70s and 80s. Just all kind of cool stuff. Like, I mean, look at that. Look, The Farm. That is so awesome, dude. So the only unfortunate thing about this book is it makes you want to read all of these crazy books that came out. Like, obviously stuff like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby are going to be easy to find, but there's so many books in here that are completely like out of print and like impossible to find for a reasonable price, and that's kind of unfortunate because I hope that they start reprinting some of these books because they look insane. But yeah, those are the books that I picked up. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Normally don't show off books, but I have been trying to read a little bit more lately. Alright, so let's get into the Blu-ray and 4K update. Alright, first up here, I may have showed this title before, but I cannot remember. It's been a while since I've done my last update, but I grabbed Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. I've never seen this movie, but I love movies set in malls, so I always wanted to check this out. And it was a title that a lot of people had been wanting on Blu-ray for like ever, so Arrow put that out. Then we have here Christmas Bloody Christmas, which is a Shudder original. I really much enjoyed this movie. It came out a few years ago. And I thought it was a really good time. Some people complained about the dialogue and how heavy it was into the cussing, but it fit the movie for me. I mean, they're like hanging out drinking in a bar. Like, that's how people talk a lot of times. But I do get the complaint, but it was a lot of fun. I don't pick up a lot of these Shudder originals, but a Christmas horror movie, I had to pick it up. And then we have Grizzly from Severin. We covered some Killer Bear films on 22 Shots recently. Grizzly was one of them, so I picked this Blu-ray up finally. Pretty fun movie. I've always liked Grizzly. And then we have Warner Archive title here, and it is Looney Tunes, Collector's Choice Volume 1. This is just a bunch of Looney Tunes shorts. You got Beanstalk Bugs up in there. You got Tweety, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, you know, Bugs, Daffy, Foghorn, Leghorn, you know, the crew. I've always been a pretty big Looney Tunes fan. I grew up watching the Looney Tunes shorts, Merry Melodies and stuff. And I always will love checking out Looney Tunes stuff, so I didn't own any. I think I owned like one Looney Tunes thing, but you know, I haven't really picked up any like the collections or anything, so I figured Blu-ray, might as well check out this collector's edition. And then we have Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 2, which has another 25 titles here. Once again, the crew back on the cover. Haven't checked either of these out yet. They have recently released Volume 3, so probably grab that one eventually as well once the price goes down. I think I got like those for $10 each, which was a really good price. After that, we have Curtains from Synapse. Finally picked this up. I did not own this, and I'd never seen it before, but we covered a couple Canadian horror films, slashers on 22 Shots. Curtains was one of them. I actually really enjoyed this. I think it's a pretty cool slasher. Very creepy mask. Good movie. If you want to hear my full thoughts on it, check out that review. A couple of Terravision titles here sprinkled throughout. I was subbing to Terravision and getting like their like package where they just send you the stuff. But I had to stop just because like finances. I wanted to become a Vinegar Syndrome subscriber, and that was like, you know, $1,000 or something like that. So I dropped Terravision. Kind of bummed that I did. They were just putting out so much stuff at the time, so it was like, damn, you know, hard to keep up. But when the screaming starts, I don't really know what this movie is. I think it was like a newer, 2021. I can't remember if I've seen this or not, but I think it might be found footage or something. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, that is pretty cool. Then we have another Terravision one here. We have Escape from Hellhole. This one is from 1983 and looks like maybe like a women in prison film. I think I may have seen this one before, but I can't remember. Always liked those women in prison movies. Then after that, we have Poltergeist on 4K. Finally picked this one up. You know, classic horror film. Not I don't really upgrade like a ton anymore of like studio titles, but the price was right on this one, so I decided to grab it. And then we have a awesome My Bloody Valentine 4K here. I never did pick this up when it came out. I slept on it, so I think that's why I didn't come with a slipcover. But I eventually did pick it up just because I was actually reviewing it with Dave and wanted to see like the newest version. And honestly, My Bloody Valentine is one of my favorite slasher films, and only continues to become more and more of one of my faves as time goes on. So very happy to have it on 4K. That'll be a regular watch every Valentine's Day for the most part. After that, we have a film that I haven't revisited in such a long time, but I really should. And that is Rosemary's Baby on 4K here. I can't remember if I ever bought the Criterion or not, the Blu-ray, but 55th anniversary, first time on 4K. Pretty cool. I could have sworn Criterion did put this on 4K, but I guess I'm wrong. 1968 classic Rosemary's Baby. Remember the first time I watched this, it was just so shocking. I love this movie, but I haven't seen it in a while. Another Terravision here. This one is a 4K. We have Malum, which is the remake of, I want to say, what is it, Last Shift? Or, yeah, I think it's Last Shift. Pretty decent movie. I saw it in the theater last year. Pretty cool that Terravision picked this up, and they actually had got this into Walmart, which is pretty cool. So, you know, bet they see a big increase in sales based on that. But yeah, this is a pretty cool title. I enjoyed the movie. I think I like the original a little bit better. After that, we have a movie here that I've never seen before. And this is actually from, I believe, Code Red. And it is, or Dark Forest Code Red, 1981, called Scream. This one, yeah, I've never seen this film before. It doesn't look particularly great, but the cover's pretty cool. Always down to check out slasher looking title. Another Terravision one here. We have Strawberry Chocolate Vanilla. I've never seen this film, but I've heard, or I guess this is the front. I've heard really good things about it. It came out in the year 2014, so we'll check that out eventually. Another Terravision one here. We have a film from 2016. We have Parasites. which I have not seen before. Or maybe I did see this. I can't remember if I saw this or not. But yeah, looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Another Terravision here. We have a film from the year 2002 called American Nightmare, which I don't think I've seen this one before. One night, 7 friends confess their fears to a killer. That's kind of cool. I feel like the early... Okay, you got Debbie or Sean in here. Oh, it also takes place on Halloween. So I feel like one of the things that one of the things that I've noticed is that there's not a whole lot of love to like early 2000s films unless they're like foreign, really. So it is kind of cool to see a little bit more people releasing some of those early 2000s titles, because for the longest time they were like too new to be, you know, discussed, to be considered classics, you know. But I think we're finally getting to the point where like they're hella old now. Last House on the Left 4K. You know, I'm a complete idiot because I saw this was coming out and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pre-order this. I didn't even realize that this was the remake of the Last House on the Left. I totally was thinking that it was the original. Which, did they ever put the remake or the original out on 4K? Like, I don't think they did, or I can't remember if they did. But I totally blanked and spent way too much money on the remake, which I do kind of like, but it's not really the best. After that, we have Blue Steel, which is the latest Vestron release, I believe, number 31 here. So, haven't had a new one announced in a little while. But yeah, Blue Steel, Jamie Lee Curtis. I've never seen this movie, but it looks kind of cool. You know, looks like a little thriller. Have to check that one out eventually. Then we have the Lone Severn title I picked up from their, I think it was their Black Friday sale. And that is Delamorte Delamore, aka Cemetery Man. Filmed by Michele Sauve, which is awesome. Awesome movie. This is finally released here in the U.S. on HD. We got the 4K here, which is just so cool that it finally happened. I mean, everybody was waiting on it forever, and finally somebody did it, and it was Severin. And yeah, what a great movie, what a great movie. Love Cemetery Man, 1994. Pretty much like the last great Italian horror flick. You know, I mean, there was a couple more that I like, but that one I would consider really great. Like, I like Stendhal Syndrome, 96. I like Argento's Sleepless in 2001, I think it is. And I like some of Argento's other films too, but, you know, I would consider Delamorte Delamore maybe like the last great Italian horror flick of the era. Okay, let's move on here. Alright, so we have this big ass box set, Inside the Mind of Coffin Joe, which has like all the Coffin Joe movies. So it has At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul, This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse, The Strange World of Coffin Joe, Awakening the Beast, The End of Man, When the Gods Fall Asleep, The Strange Hostel of Naked Pleasures, Hellish Flesh, Hallucinations of a Deranged Man, and Embodiment of Evil, which is pretty cool. The only thing I did hear that Awakening the Beast, the subtitles are messed up, and I never actually did get the replacement disc, so that kind of annoys me a little bit. I've seen, I'd say, 4 of these. 2 are fantastic, the first 2. 1 is decent, the last one, and then 1 is kind of boring. But Coffin Joe is such a cool character that I've always sort of wanted to see some of his other films, which I believe he's not as prevalent in them as like the first two, but yeah, so that is Coffin Joe box set from Arrow. Such a cool release on that one, and honestly the price was not that bad considering all the films you get. And then another box set here, which I've not even dug into at all yet. That is the Lost Picture Show from Vinegar Syndrome. This thing is insane. You have this like inside here, and then you have two slide out things with like 5 or so discs each. Oh wait, it folds again, which this is just like insane. Wait, is there any like nudity on there? I guess I should have looked at it first. But yeah, this has, I think, 10 films that were previously like unreleased. From what I've heard, there's some like bad ones, there's some like interesting ones, but I'm all about film preservation. Even like the worst movies deserve to be preserved. And yeah, the Vinegar Syndrome Lost Picture Show box set, this is such a cool set. Even if the movies aren't the best, like there's a documentary about preserving films and stuff. It's a really cool set. I love the look of it, love the design of it. Just a really neat set there that becomes really cool. So yeah, that I can't wait to eventually check that thing out. Then we have another one of these sort of like sideways open type of cases here from Vinegar Syndrome. This is Prophecy 1, 2, and 3. I think what is there, 5 Prophecy films? I wonder why Vinegar Syndrome decided not to do like the full series. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is Prophecy 1, 2, and 3. Paramount titles here. I've never seen these, but I just love these this particular box set style from Vinegar Syndrome. It's so different, but I do love that. Christopher Walken, awesome dude. After that, this is probably my favorite like slipcover of the year, and that is Rabid Granny's lenticular cover front and back, which is just really neat. I've never seen this film actually. It is a Trauma release, but I just I love that lenticular slipcover. It's so awesome. After that, we got another Vinegar Syndrome here. We got Amazon Jail 1 and 2. You guys can tell that it's been a while since I've done a DVD update because a lot of these titles were released a while ago at this point. But yeah, looks like maybe some women in prison type stuff here. Pretty cool. Then we have Guest House Paradiso, which is from 1999. I have no clue what this one is about, but it looks pretty neat. This was put out by Universal too, which is kind of odd. I have no clue what this one's about. I guess I could read the back, but the thing is, I have a fascination with films that were released between like 95 and like 2003. For some reason that is sort of hitting like this nostalgic spot for me, like the way they looked and stuff like that. And a lot of people older than me think that they look horrible. Some of the people younger than me think they look horrible, but something about like the age of my life right now, I'm very nostalgic for like the late